everyone. I am going to show you how to make a really easy apple pie. And I have Savannah with me, so she is going to help me today. And of course, most of you know Savannah is my daughter.
Hello.
And she just had a 6th birthday, right? It was fun. Tell them what you had at your birthday.
It was unicorn themed and it was really fun.
Yeah, she had some unicorns and some balloons and all that good stuff. But anyway, so she's going to help me today make this apple pie, or at least show you. It's really, really easy. You can make your own crust. I've done that before, but honestly, I like buying the deep dish pie crust. I think they're pretty simple, makes it a lot faster. So if you get these, again, the deep dish, they have the regular ones, but I prefer deep dish, especially for apple pie because it's a little chunkier. But you can get these, they come 2 in a pack. Okay, and I'll show you what to do with that in a second. First, you're going to need about 7 Granny Smith apples, about medium size. If you have a couple of large ones, that's fine, but you might want to reduce it to about 5 apples if you're doing the large Granny Smith. So I have one here, and I'm just going to show you how I peel it, which is not that big a deal, but I'm going to peel it, and then I'm just going to show you how I slice the apple, the thickness of it. So you don't want them super thinly sliced because then it'll get kind of mushy in your apple pie, and you don't want them so thick that they don't cook all the way and they're too crunchy. Okay, so really, you can see the apple here. I usually just cut around the core of the apple. I try not to cut into the core. Of course, you have apple cores and all the fancy things that you can use to make this happen a little nicer. But I like to cut them, the first one, I'll show you. So I like to cut them about this thick, if you can see that. Okay, so it's about maybe 1/4 of an inch thick, I guess. And they don't, it's not imperative that they're the exact, measurement or anything like that. And you can slice them, you can cube them. It just kind of depends on how you prefer your apples to look, kind of feel, I guess, if you're a texture person in your pie. So you can't really mess it up. You just don't want to chop them up too small. So the next thing that I like to do is you want to use about a tablespoon of lemon juice. So usually I cut half of a lemon. And the way that I juice it, I'm going to do this one. I have a juicer, but for something this simple, you don't really have to do all that. I simply use my hand, which are clean, and I just squeeze the lemon in my hand, and that's to catch any of the seeds that might fall. So really, you need about a tablespoon of lemon juice or half of the juice of a lemon. It's not really that big a deal. And then I like to, let me get my spoon.
Everybody.
So I like to just kind of mix around the lemon juice with the apples. Okay.
Makes this sweet.
All right. And so then we're going to set this over here. And now Savannah is going to help combine the dry ingredients. So she's going to put in a cup of sugar into the bowl here. Just dump it. 1 cup of sugar. Oh, it is kind of powdery, huh? All right, and then we're going to do 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg, and then I'm doing 1/4 teaspoon of the salt, right? And 1 teaspoon, you know what this is?
Of the spice.
Of the cinnamon, yep. And we're going to do 2.5 tablespoons of flour. I'll put the recipe in the description box. But I'm just kind of showing you here. So kind of take your fingers and make sure it all goes in, okay? You can, of course, use a spoon. You can make it look a little nicer, but we're having fun today, okay? So everything's in there. Now, okay, that's gross. But, so then what we do is I like to mix this around. So I want you to stir this around. And so you really want to make sure that all the dry ingredients are blended really well, because you're going to take this and dump it into your apples and stir them up. So you want to make sure that everything, you don't have a bunch of chunks of flour on one side and cinnamon on the other. Okay, so let me finish stirring real quick. So you just want to stir it up until everything looks nice and blended.
It's really, 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 really dry.
And so, okay. So now it's blended really well, okay? You can kind of see everything's mixed up. There's no clumps of sugar or flour anywhere. And then I want you to take the powdered mixture and I want you to dump it in here with the apples.
Okay.
Okay, so put it in there.
It'll be very, very
Okay.
here.
All right, good job. All right, so now I take my spoon,
I'm doing.
okay, and we stir it around. So stir it around really good. Make sure all the apples are coated. All right. Okay, don't dump them out. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I take one of my pie crusts, okay, and you just kind of score the bottom of it a little bit just to keep it from bubbling up when it cooks. And usually when you put stuff in it, it's not really an issue, but I still like to do it just in case. So it's not cooked, so I put a few little holes in the bottom, which is fine. And Savannah has stirred this up good, so I'm going to give it a couple of more stirs. Okay. Don't. And she likes to touch everything, so keep in mind this pie is only for family. All right. She is still learning her kitchen etiquette, right, Savannah? All right, so she likes to stick her fingers in flour and in sugar and in dough, which is fun, right? All right, so the main thing is you just really want to make sure all this is coated really, really well. All right, so your apples look pretty well coated here, okay? And then all you're going to do is put them in this pie crust.
Ew.
Put them in this pie crust. And it's going to be, you know, it's going to look a little overfilled sometimes, but that's okay because apples cook down, so it's not going to, it's going to make it really good. Okay, you want to try to get all of the sugar and the dry mix off of your spoon. So, okay, and let's see, and that honestly is really it. I try to make sure that the apples are kind of as evenly spread as possible. So as they cook down, they'll kind of cook down and fill up all the little gaps in there. So you just want to kind of smooth them out a little bit. All right. And then I take, so easy, I take the second pie crust. And again, if you're the kind who like to have the strips on top of your pie, you can easily take this, lay it flat, and cut strips with a pizza cutter, and just put your strips over it if you prefer an apple pie like that. I actually like the entire top to be covered with dough. So, but again, everyone is different. You can also buy the flat pie, like the rolls of pie crust in the refrigerated section in the grocery store. These actually are in the freezer section, they're frozen. Just be careful. You want to make sure these are pretty much room temperature, so that they don't stick too bad to the plate, or to the aluminum rather. Like this one's sticking a little bit, but it's okay. So, all right, and then what I do typically, is we just flip it upside down. You kind of want to really make sure it's loose and it's away from the aluminum as much as possible without tearing it up. All right, let's go back just a little bit, baby girl. All right, and so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to dump this right over top. And here, just put it in there. Thank you. Stop. Okay. All right, so we've got the pie crust on top, and then you just kind of adjust it. You adjust it to make it look the way you want. Keep in mind it is dough, so you can play with it. You can move it around. You can't really mess it up. Even if you get a little hole, it's okay. You can patch it up with your finger. Just kind of push the dough together. And then the sides here, you want to kind of crimp the sides together, and this holds them together. And you just kind of go around the pie.
Can I try?
No. I'm just going to go around the pie like this. And make sure it's nice and sealed. Okay, so this is the top of, this is your pie. Then you want to take, you can take a fork or a knife Let me see, I'm gonna use this knife. So, and you just cut little slits so that the pie can vent, okay? Because it's gonna bubble up, it's gonna get really hot in there, and it needs a little place for the heat and steam to escape. Then what I like to do is take an egg wash. This is just 1 egg white. Hold on, Savannah. This is 1 egg white and 1 tablespoon of water. All right, it doesn't have to be exact. And I'm gonna show you how she wants to really do this, but hold on. Let me show you how. So you just dip your brush and then you lightly brush till you get it all over. You don't want big pools of egg white because that's gross, right? So she's gonna lightly brush some on there. Okay, like that. Yep, so it's kind of like you're painting, right? Okay, here, let mommy finish real quick, okay? So you're just gonna take it, you're gonna dab it on there, just kind of turn your pie, get it on the crust, on the edges. Okay, and just get it on there. And what this does is it just kind of gives the top of the pie that glossy look, just makes it pretty. It really doesn't add flavor or anything, but it does make it pretty. And it kind of helps it when it browns to brown more evenly. I don't really know how it does that, but it does. And that's it. So again, just on the edges a little bit. It's okay if you make a mess. It's not a big deal. All right, and so just around the edges, okay? And then the other thing I like to do, you don't have to do, all this is optional, is you can take a pinch of sugar. So this is a little bit of sugar, and I just like to sprinkle it on top, okay? And just sprinkle the sugar on top. And it gives that a little extra bite, right, to your pie.
Bite like pump.
Yep. Okay. All right. And Savannah is really, okay, that's enough. She's really putting a lot on top. Okay, put that okay, great. That's just what you need, right? Okay. So now the pie is ready to go into the oven. You're going to put it into a 425-degree oven, and you're going to bake it for about 45 minutes. And then let's see, I have my little card here. Yeah, you'll bake it for about 15 minutes first, and then you're going to pull it out, and I'll show you. I have some little aluminum strips that I cut out that you'll put around the edge of your pie so that it doesn't overbake. But and there's nothing wrong with having your little handy recipe card. There are some things that I just remember because I make them so often. Apple pie is something I do not make that often, so I always pull out my little recipe card and kind of use that as my guide. Because if you don't, it's almost guaranteed you will make a mistake. There are some things you only make a couple times a year. Sweet potato pie is usually one of those things you don't make all year long. Apple pies, I really don't make that often, but I have been making them a lot in the last several weeks. So put this into a 425-degree oven for 15 minutes. Then you're going to take it out. We're going to take the aluminum foil, and I'll show you in a minute, and cover the edges and put it back into the oven and cook it for about another 30 minutes or until you see it's nice and golden. Okay, so I've taken the pie out of the oven. It's baked for 15 minutes. And what you want to do now, and it's very hot so you have to be careful, is I've cut some pieces of the aluminum foil, okay? You take the aluminum foil, and this is just to keep the edges from burning because the pie still has to be in there for quite a while, and you just don't want the edges to be black and gross and crispy, okay? So you're going to take the aluminum foil and you place it around the edges of the pie. Now, of course, you can also buy they actually, do make these to go around the pie, like I forget what they're called, but kind of like the edge protectors or something like that for your pies. You can buy them. They have the silicone ones, which I've actually considered investing in. I think they might be $10, okay? So I may get some, but what I like about the aluminum foil is it's gonna get a little messy as the pie bubbles up, and I just pull it off and throw it away. So there's no washing anything, and it's just a few strips of aluminum foil. Now you do want to make sure you get it on there pretty good, because if you don't, your oven, it has a fan in there. Most ovens do have the fan that kind of moves the air around. So when that air catches a corner of this aluminum foil, if you don't have it on there good, it will blow it off. And you will have some burnt edges on your pie if you don't notice it. Okay? There's no perfect way, I don't think, to put these on, but you just want to get them on there to where they don't feel like they're about to come off. Okay? So once you have that on there, we're going to stick it back in the oven for about 30 minutes, and I'm going to watch it and wait till it's the right color and it seems like it's done. But on average, it's a total of 45 minutes. 15 minutes, you definitely want to take it out after 15 minutes and put the aluminum foil on the edges, and then put it back in for at least 30 minutes. Okay, so I've taken the pie out. It's baked for another about 30-35 minutes. I baked it. So you're going to pull up the aluminum foil, and I let it cool off so it's not piping hot. But I want you to see what it looks like. And Savannah's going to be our taste tester today. So you can see it's a little sticky there because when it bubbles up, it'll stick to the aluminum foil, but see, you just throw that away. And I'm going to bring this over so you can see how yummy it looks. Okay. And now it's still a little hot, but I'm going to let Savannah taste just a little piece. See, it's got a nice crispy top there. It's got the sugar on top. And it's still hot, so it's not going to cut really pretty right now. But it is definitely got the crust thing going. All right. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. So of course this is great with vanilla ice cream, for those of you who like that. And we're going to let Savannah taste just a little bit. She would probably like a little ice cream with it though. And take it there. It's a little on the hot side. Let me see.
That's good.
Is that good? You like it? Let me taste a little. Get the little crunch going. It's yummy. It is. It's very good. It's sweet. The Granny Smith apples, if you use Granny Smith, which I recommend, you know, they have a little bit more of a sour taste to them. So when you mix that with the sugar and the cinnamon, it's a nice sweet but a little bit of a tart taste. So that's it. That's how you make a very simple apple pie. Again, you can always, I think the crust can make all the difference in an apple pie. I think what goes in it is pretty consistent across most recipes. Your apples, cinnamon, nutmeg, sugar. People may add cornstarch instead of flour or whatever, but I think for the most part the ingredients that go in are consistent. The crust can make or break the pie. So of course they do have the pies that have the crumbly crust. You have graham cracker crust, you have your traditional, you have the little crisscross, the lattice work tops on the pies, and all kinds of different things that you can do. But if you want to make a quick, easy, simple apple pie, I recommend getting the deep dish pie crust and then just, throwing all those ingredients into your bowl, mix them up and put them in there, and that's it. And I will have the recipe linked in the description box so you can go through and make sure you have all your ingredients. And let me know, once you make your pie, let me know what you think, okay?